Let's start. Hello, people. My name is Mohini Dey, and you're watching my brand new talk show, What a Melophile Wants. Now, everybody knows how I like talking about different subjects on different episodes with different artists. Today, also, we're going to talk about something that has helped me during the ups and downs in my life. There's one thing that has been very, very consistent in keeping me sane, powerful, and distracted anytime and every time. It's like a numbing cream that helps you not only numb all the unnecessary thoughts and emotions, but also helps you feel good about yourself and reminds you what you're worth of and that you're here to do something way greater, right? Today, I have an outstanding personality on my show. He's an English bass player, composer, producer, published author, and an award-winning music educator. He has performed and recorded with a wide range of world-class musicians such as Hiromi, John McLaughlin, Dennis Chambers, Bill Evans, Dave Holland, Wayne Krantz, Mike Stern, and my God, so many more. Please welcome the unreal, the incredible Tony Gray. Firstly, thank you so much for coming on my show. How are you feeling?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me on your show. You are incredible. I'm a big, massive fan.
Oh my God.
You made me realize how much I don't know.
No, that's me. That's me. I need to take lessons from you, like so many lessons.
Whatever.
What's going on out there? I know in the whole world, everything's just insane. Everything's just crazy. But how is it there where you're staying?
Well, where I'm staying, I'm in Pennsylvania, so I'm kind of in the woods a little bit, the countryside. So the virus kind of came here last. So it's actually on the rise here right now. It's,
okay.
So it finally got here and it's starting to grow. So I try not to get sketched out. You know, like you watch the news and then it kind of freaks you out.
I know, right? That's why I never watch news. Never.
Exactly. Then you realize that that's what the news is all about, to kind of create fear.
Yeah, I saw this like picture where the picture says, after you watch news, you be like, and this guy, you see a guy with like all wrapped up and in like a garbage bag.
Yeah. I've seen those guys at the supermarket.
Really? Oh my God.
No kidding, man. Like
that's
big man, like on their arms and on their
Oh my God.
Like
I think we're all gonna be in like huge bubbles.
I think so.
Yeah, like I saw this picture, another picture that where all the musicians on stage, they're on like inside huge bubbles and they're playing inside that.
Hey, works for me.
As long as we can play live.
Yeah, exactly. As long as we can get the cord through the bubble, it's okay. You can get a good little stereo system set up in it as well.
Like a room, like a studio inside a bubble, right?
Yeah, like 3D sound system.
That's hilarious. That's amazing. Okay, well, like I mentioned in the start, music can mean so many different things to so many different people. And I ask this to every artist that has been on the show. To me, music is an outburst of my emotion. And I believe it is such a powerful force which has the power to evoke our highest aspirations, our emotions, our laughter, and all the things that we go through in life. I want to ask you, what is music to you and how did it enter your life? Give us a little backstory on how it all started for you, the journey with your music.
Well, my music to me is everything. It's always been everything. I remember when I was a little kid, I was always really into Michael Jackson and Prince and those guys. Yes. And I used to sit in the garage just pretending I was Michael Jackson, you know what I mean?
Singing along.
Yeah, I was also shy though, so I never really believed that I could do it, or anyone else would. I didn't want anyone else to hear me do it, so I was very underground with it. And my mum made me play piano when I was very young, like when I was 4 or 5 years old. So I had to study piano, and then as soon as I was 13, I was given the choice whether I wanted to do it or not. But because it was more of a chore, it was more of a thing that I had to do. It just felt like school to me.
Okay.
The way it was presented.
So at first, like your parents kind of made you do it.
Yeah, and because of that, I resented it and I didn't work hard at it. And as soon as I was 13, I never wanted to go back, so I quit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I got into like kind of DJ. So music's always been a massive part of me. You know, I used to, like I said, I had the posters all over the wall,
Right, right.
and so I became like into drum and bass, like DJ music, like
Okay.
techno, like
Right. Electronica.
electronica. Yeah, I got really into that. So I bought myself some turntables when I was young, and
Oh,
like
wow.
everyone from school would just pile into my bedroom every night. Sometimes there'd be kids there who I never didn't even know, and
Uh-huh.
it would just be a bunch of kids sitting against the sides of the wall, and I would just be DJing and mixing, and I was kind of obsessed with it, and I did that until I realized that I wasn't going to make a living out of that,
Right, right.
and then my father wanted me to join the army for whatever reason, so I joined the army, and I broke my
Wow.
yeah, I
So
broke
you
my
joined the army and you're also an author.
yeah.
Oh
Well,
my God. You have so many sides, Tony. This is the first time I'm hearing all this. I had no idea.
I just the thing with me is I like to kind of go where the wind blows me.
Right. Okay.
So if it goes this way, I'm kind of committed, and then all of a sudden, if it goes that way, I'm committed. So
Okay.
I like to fit in. I like to be part of like a team or part of something that I feel like I can grow and kind of have that family vibe. I've always
Mhm.
really been interested in that. So, like I said, like when I get into something, I really am committed to it, no matter what it is.
Right, right, right.
So when I joined the army, I became really conscious of my health, and I wanted to get fit, and I wanted to not be the last guy in the race or running, and I didn't want to be the guy that everyone picked on. So I was really committed to
And you
like
were like competitive and like true to you, whatever you were doing. You wanted to do it properly.
I wanted to do it properly. So that actually taught me a lot about myself because I grew up, I was very shy. I
Shy,
still am,
yeah.
and
Mm,
lacking self confidence. So the army
mm,
really taught me to kind of accept myself and to
mm-hmm.
think of the greater good. You know, we work
Okay.
as a unit
Right,
together.
right.
So that taught me discipline, self respect, respect for others, all that stuff.
Right.
But then I
Mm-hmm.
broke my back, and then I went back to square one. So I
Oh,
didn't know what to do with my life, and
oh shit.
I was just sitting around the house watching football games. And my stepdad came in the room one day, and he just had a bass in his hand, and he said, you should learn music. It's good for the soul. It'll make you feel better, and it'll stop making you feel
Oh,
sorry for
so
about."
nice of your family.
Yeah, so it's something I didn't ask for.
Right.
It was just there. So
Right. So when you
I,
like started after that, when you started playing the bass, when was the time you knew that you want to do this professionally?
I never, ever, ever thought I wanted to do it professionally. And
Mm.
even to this day, I kind of wrap my head around that concept.
Oh
So,
God.
so what I did for me at the time, because I was like in this big plaster jacket for my back and I couldn't really go out or see anyone
Right.
or anything,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
it became like medicine for me. So I would literally just sit all day for like 12 hours a day. I think
Mm.
I read somewhere that the greatest musicians have to practice 12 hours a day. I don't believe
What?
that. I don't believe it. I don't, it's a lie. But I
No.
heard it somewhere. I heard it somewhere. And my mindset was like, okay, I'm just starting to play bass and I was like 19 years old.
Mm.
So I guess I better practice 12 hours a day if I want to catch up.
Oh shit. Poor
So I
bag though.
put everything, man. I ruined my neck, my arms, everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would just sit there and just practice anything I could get my hands on. And I was very diligent about the 12 hours. So
Mhm.
like
So you would time it?
I would time it,
Oh
and
God.
I still do time it. I time my practice
Oh my
because
God.
I'm one of those people who like will procrastinate and never be able to move on from something until
Mhm.
I feel like I've got it. But
Okay.
as in music, we never get it. It's
Yeah,
always
you never
evolving.
get it. Yeah, it's always
So
well, you're never satisfied.
never satisfied. So I would literally sometimes go to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning just to get the
Hmm.
practice finished, and then I'd
Right.
wake up and then go
That's
again.
why you sleep very late.
Yeah, I've just got to do stuff. So um, so then so I just practiced, and then after about 8 months, I went to Berklee, and then it just all began. Really,
So how old were you then when
I
you
was
joined Berkeley?
like 20 years old.
20 years old. So just like a year after you picked up the bass.
Yeah, pretty
Seriously.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Let me ask you. Yeah, this is something that has been like, it's a question that I've picked up like from your videos and stuff. Is there anything that you ever wanted to do apart from playing bass or music in general? Like something that, you know, everybody has like their goals and wishes in life as a kid growing up. Like I wanted to become a fashion designer, you know. I never wanted to play the bass, but my father made me do it. And then down the line, I was like, okay, cool, let's just do it. It's cool, you know. So how were you thinking when you were like a kid growing up? What did you want to become when you grew up?
I think I wanted to be a fireman.
Fireman. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Very
I don't
cool.
know why. I don't know why. There was no like heroic concept behind it. I just
Right.
thought that'd be a cool job, like to do that, like the big
Right.
fire engines and the ladders and all that. I just thought it was like that's a cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And what was the first big thing that happened to you like in your musical journey? Like after you went to Berklee and then you studied there for like how many years?
I was there for 4 years, but I split it up. So I went there for like a year, and then I left, and then I went back for another year, and then the second year that I was there, I didn't audition for a pop band. There was a record label traveling around the country, going to different music schools. So I just kind of did it to help a friend out, really, because my friend was a drummer, and he was, hey, come along and audition with me, man. And and then I ended up getting the gig. And the gig, so I dropped out of school, which my family were really, really upset about. They were like, why did you go through all of that stuff and go to America and then drop out? What's wrong with you?
Right, yeah, all the years of just, they must have felt like all the years went for waste.
Yeah, and then it's like, it's like, what is it, and what are you going to do, and what if it doesn't work out, and then you won't be able to go back to school, and blah blah blah.
Right.
But anyway,
But the little does everyone know that, you know, even after after going to music schools and like dropping out, or like after you pass out of the music college and like, you know, do everything, it's really hard to get a job after that, you know?
Yeah, it's not like I think most of the people who went to Berklee work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Or Guitar Center. You know, you go into Guitar Center, you're like, hey man, you're in my class, can I get cable?
Yeah, so true. It's really hard. It's so important for people to know, like, you know, even when you're in music school or even when you're not studying, it's so important to keep people in the contacts. And
So yeah, I got this gig, and I was I was still a very beginner bass player, because when I got to Berklee, I felt, I've got this, I had some chops, and I didn't know anything about improvising. I didn't have a clue about it. So going to Berklee, I got a massive slap of reality, and I realized how terrible I was. So when I got this gig, it was a pop gig, but you know, I have to say that gig was the biggest and best thing that ever happened to me in my musical career, because it taught me how to play bass. You know, it taught me how to play bass and be responsible for the bass, for the groove and all that. It taught me how to travel around the world. It taught me how to deal with media and the pressure of cameras in your face. And when that gig finished, I had all that experience, and now I could play a little bit. So when I went back, I met Hiromi, and then I was ready for that.
Okay, that's how you met Hiromi.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And how is it working with her? How's the experience like?
It's unbelievable, really. I mean,
like, I'm a big fan of her. Like, I've only watched her videos, never had the opportunity to meet her, but like, she's such a diva. Amazing. And I'm sure she's like a mastermind when she's writing songs and stuff.
Yeah, she's prolific, man. She like, when I first met her, she was like the quietest girl you ever meet, and you're like, her head was always down, and she was just walking with her shoulders up like this, and she wouldn't speak to anybody. And then invited her to sit in on the gig I was doing with one of these teachers, and she just came and sat down, and everybody just was like, what? Nobody expected it. right?
Right.
It's like phenomenal skill. And
How is the process like when you're working with her? I'm sure it's so different from people to people that we work with, but like with her, how is the process of music making? Does she make the music first and have you guys over, or she sends it to you guys and then you hear it and then give your take on it? How is it like?
she said, well, her process is very interesting because she's very quiet about what she's doing. Like she's not like, hey guys, I'm writing some, like, it's very like, we'll be in sound check and she'll just be noodling. And she'll just be kind of not inviting, but not opposed to you just naturally joining in some way or another.
Right.
Of course, it's more difficult for me. I mean, for bass players, but probably maybe just me. I don't know. But when she's playing all this stuff, I'm like, well, but it's easier for a drummer to pick up
to keep time,
all the rhythms. She's doing all this odd time stuff and changing the rhythm. And so the drummer we were playing with was like kind of a freak. He was like a genius for me, and he would always pick up things very quickly.
Did Simon do a few gigs with Hiromi as well?
Yeah, Simon did a few gigs. When I was playing, it was Martin Valley Horror, and then it was Dave DeCenzo, Kendrick Scott,
Frank
Nemeth. A few different Jordan Pill, a few different drummers came in, and then Simon Phillips started when he was playing. But so I think she was always kind of collecting ideas, like like how people react, and then every day it would evolve, and then all of a sudden she'd give you a chart and say, okay, we're going to play this in 5 days, and you can have the chart for 2 gigs.
Oh wow, challenging.
Very challenging, because then you've got to worry about all the other songs you're trying to learn as well.
Right.
New one, and it was very overwhelming. But the thing about Hiromi is she always had faith that we could do it. She really believes in a team.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so she's like, you can. I'm like, I can't do that. There's no way I can do that. And she's like, you can do it. You can do it. And then I would do it, and I'd be like, I can do it. And then my be suffering.
No, but you're incredible. Like I have, as a kid growing up, like my father used to show me all these videos of you playing with Hiromi, and of course the individual solo videos of hers. But most importantly, I would get fascinated by the way you play and this unlike tone that you have, which is so different, the sound that you have, which brings me to my next question. Your sound is so different. How did you find this tone that you have? Was it something that was unconscious, or was it something that you built over time? Who are your major influences in building this sound of yours that you have?
Well, thank you. One of my biggest influences on this was actually an ex-girlfriend. She had perfect pitch. She was a Japanese girl, and she was like, she would come and watch me play, and she was always squinting and like looking like she'd eaten something rotten when I was playing. And I was always like, so after the show, I'm like, was it okay? Did you like it? Did it sound good? Did it sound good? She's like, your tone's terrible. I can't pick out the notes.
Really?
It's all muddy.
That must have been a long time ago, though.
It was, a long time ago. But because I used to like mask my sound a little bit with loads of bass on the amp. So I would be kind of self-conscious a little bit. So I'd always try to make it as
that would it was like a way of covering all the definition.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just unclear. You could feel, can you feel the bass, but you couldn't actually pick out any notes.
Yeah.
And she was very articulate about what she didn't like. And then I kind of, and I remember the first time I was in the studio, there was a lot of notes ringing, and the guys in the booth were always like, hey dude, you've got notes ringing, can we do that again? And I just very
it's so different. Playing live and playing in the studio, it's so different. Like you have to be so careful about notes ringing, string buzz, have to be so clear. And whereas like when you're playing live and you have all these loud monitors, these things are not really audible in between such a huge loud band.
Yeah, it's terrible, and it's very like playing in the studio. It's there's nowhere to hide,
No way to hide. Yeah,
it's right there on print. And so what I did is I just started to realize that I was probably working on things too fast. You know, I had like good technique. I could play fast and all that.
Right.
But I kind of maybe leaned on that a little bit too much to kind of get gigs or get opportunities.
Right.
But the thing is, when I learned or discovered that if you play things very slowly, like when you're practicing a martial art, you know, you work on form and discipline. So I try to apply that to the bass by doing everything very slowly, understanding how the fingers feel, where you're striking it, which part of the finger you're playing, how you're holding the thumb, how's your posture, all of this stuff. And then I started to go very slowly, and note by note, I started to refine my tone until it became very clear. And then I became not confident, but I just kind of let go of the fear and just said, look, this is my... And Wayne Krantz, I heard Wayne Krantz say in an interview, when somebody says, who do you listen to, or who you're trying to emulate, or when you're playing, and he said, you know, I'm a grown man, I have my own point of view. And when he said that, I'm like, you know what, I should stop trying to be like somebody else. Find myself. So I started to really work on a practice schedule that would give me my own voice.
Right, that would serve the subject that you're going at. Yeah, that's beautiful. And like I've seen you are so into like gadgets and stuff, like you love synth sounds and all those things. Like you mentioned in the start, you love EDM and all that. And I see that like in your playing, I can hear it, you know, like a touch of it, which is so cool. And it's like so gritty and the perfect amount, you know. So when was the time you actually got introduced to like pedals? And when did you know that, okay, this is something I really like and I want to infuse that with my playing?
Well, the first time I really got into it, because John McLaughlin, who has been a mentor of mine forever, like he would always be like, I don't like effects on basses. He's never liked effects on basses. I was always like staying away from them. And but then I saw Tim LaFave play with Wayne Krantz. He came to Berklee and did like a performance. I couldn't believe the sounds he was getting out of his instrument. I was like, no way. He had like an envelope filter and like this bass sound. And ever since then, I've just been upset. Well, I'm actually going backwards now. I'm kind of trying to not use it.
Yes, yeah.
At that time, it was just a really great way of just expressing yourself. Yeah. Big inspiration.
That's wonderful. Like I was never into pedals and stuff and like these kind of sounds until like a year ago. I was like, I liked the most rawest, the most woody sound that comes out of the bass, you know. That's the best sound for me, for my personal.
Yeah, your tone is ridiculous. It's so
for
beautiful.
My personal liking, you know. That's just who I am. That's for me the best way to express myself. I feel amazing. And then when I joined and started playing with some of the rock bands and some of the pop bands, that's when I started to feel like, okay, they really want to hear that drive. They really want to hear all the, you know, distortion and all those other things like, you know, synthy sounds. Like now TC has so many different kinds of sounds, like, you know, the brainwaves pedal and like the sub and up. I don't know if you've heard these ones. They have some cool ones, and they gave me these pedals just to try them out. And then I tried them and I was like, wow, I really like them. There are so many things that I didn't know until a year ago. And then when I tried them out, I was like in love with them, you know. And then it was just a way to make my solo sound cooler, you know.
Right. Well, it's like production in a way. There's a place and for everything, but it's all about not overdoing. It's easy to overdo it.
Yeah.
And you know, it can add so much if you just use it in the right place.
In the right place with the right amount. Yeah, not too much. Yeah, not overpowering the song, but just like if you're playing like this ballad song and you can use just a little bit of chorus with just a little bit of reverb, and that's all you need, you know. Yeah. Yeah, not that it sounds bad if you don't use the chorus and reverb. It's just preference.
Yeah. But subtlety is everything, really.
Everything. That is so.
And I learned the hard way. I went through my experimentation thing.
Like when I started playing the bass, I didn't have a computer. I didn't have anything. I just had like this DVD player that my dad had, and he would put like these CDs of, you know, Jaco Pastorius, Weather Report, Johnny Mitchell and stuff. And then I would like rewind, stop, try to hear the notes and play it on the bass and then go back again. Is that right? And then, just I did it the hard way. It would take me hours to learn like one song because that rewinding takes so much time. But it was worth it. It was all worth it. And I'm so glad that I did it that way because my ears are so strong because of that.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like sometimes it's a little harder and you have to work a little bit more for it.
Yes.
Then it has so much more of a deeper impact in you. When everything's too easy, we can take it for granted too much, So I'm like you. I will struggle to learn something and try to develop as much as possible from it.
Absolutely. And I'm very competitive. So like if I don't get something, I'm like you. Like I would just sit for hours and try to get that. I won't eat, I won't drink water, nothing. I'll just get that and then do anything else, everything else,
Yeah. That's why you're amazing, really, isn't it?
Thank you so much. That's coming from you, it means a lot. You're like one of the biggest idols that I've grown up listening to.
Thank you. I just watched a video of you and Rajesh.
Rajesh, yeah.
Wow. I played with him once with Karsh Kale.
Yes, he told me, yeah.
He's the most beautiful guy and he's the most phenomenal player.
Yes.
It's just like his brother, rest in peace, like Srinivas.
Yes.
I remember I went to Chennai and I went to Srinivas's house and I met you.
You did?
Yeah.
I've heard you played with Navin Kumar as well.
Yeah, I played with him a lot. I know you guys are friends. Yeah.
We know. I think we know each other since I was probably like 13 years old. So we've played together. He's so funny. He's amazing. He's an incredible musician. So much feel, so much soul, and at the same time, such an amazing personality. Just as a human being, he's so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's lovely. It's like his tone is like straight to God.
Yes. So right. That is
his direct line.
Absolutely. That is the best way to put it. Yes. And you, Rajesh, and we made that track like just a few days ago. We do a lot of concerts together, but this song has always been the most challenging one to play with other musicians because of its speed, right? So we have had like a lot of mess ups on stage, with like other musicians because it's just not possible with that speed. If too many musicians playing and they're not in sync, it just sounds a mess.
How do you okay, so it's hard for me to so if I learn like a fast line with Hiromi or something like really fast, I can't really put myself in it to hear it until later, and then I watch it, I'm like, I don't even know how. But in that video, I'm like, how do you not get injured from doing that?
How do I get not injured? That's a good question. I think I've been doing this for many, many years now. I sound like a 70-year-old person, but but it's so true. Like in my head, I feel like I've been doing this for too long, and I know I've only been playing for the past 15 to 16 years professionally, and before that, maybe like 5 years of like serious learning from my dad. And my dad only taught me theory, right? And after that, it was my own journey to like work on my techniques and stuff. And watching Victor Wooten, Jacko, John McLaughlin, so many drummers as well. And like I started playing with a lot of percussionists, like kanjira players, mridangam players, tabla players. And I just got fascinated by how every instrument sounded, and mostly percussive instruments like kanjira and tabla. And I wanted to sound like them. So I started building up like techniques and constructing things that would make me sound exactly the same, if not exactly close, So from the age of, I would say, like 13ish, I started constructing exercises for myself, like slap techniques and finger techniques that would help me sound powerful when I'm playing in unison with them. Because mostly what happens is with bass and having a bass frequency like we do, sometimes we can get lost with like drums if we try and play the same thing because of its frequency. We just can't help it. So I wanted to try something that would make me sound as powerful as a drummer and not get hidden by anything, So if you want me to mellow down, that's totally possible. And if you want me to overpower, that's possible too, you know. So I just wanted to build like a lot of frequency levels and dynamics so that I can fluctuate whenever I want to. So if I'm playing with a tabla player, I mellow down. If I'm playing with a drummer who is loud, then I overpower, because that's the only way to stand out, you know. So yeah, so depending on situations, and I think from the experiences I've had, all the bad and good experiences, I kind of grew out of it. And I just got better. Like you said, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So I just kept doing it.
Like self-belief.
Self-belief, yes.
I think as well, like for me to kind of do that stuff, like it helps me to visualize as I'm playing.
Yeah.
You know, just
Absolutely.
to visualize the finger, because sometimes you can do these patterns, but sometimes if you're doing 1 2 1 2 1 2, sometimes you need to go 1 1 2, just depending on the string.
Yes.
Or
So I recently started using the third finger as well. I would never use the third finger, never ever. But from the past 1 year, I've been trying to infuse my third finger as well, because I think people now, they see all the flashy stuff on YouTube and they expect me to play all the fastest stuff, but it's sometimes really impossible, like this song as well. And you will see in one of the parts, I'm using the third finger as well. It was hard for me, really, I wouldn't lie. And this is not something that I've worked on. You know, speed is not something that I ever paid attention to at all. It just happened like over time. I've only focused on how to express myself and be as lyrical as possible, you know, in terms of melody.
well, you know, it's kind of what I was saying. Like I don't actually work on speed either, but I think if you work on the things that you say, like if you work on like dynamic, form, sometimes playing loud, awareness, like being comfortable, being adaptable, especially for you, because if you're literally going from tabla to drums, that's a massive difference.
Yes.
And I've been in those situations too, where you plug in and you're ready to go in, and you're like, wow, I'm like an elephant here.
Yeah.
So you try to find that intensity super quiet. But I think once you work and think about music like that, like intention, form, then the speed comes just.
Yeah, like when you are aware of what you actually need to sound different on the stage with other people that you play with, right? What would make you stand out apart from all the stuff that you already have, the unique voice that you already have? What can you add to it to make you sound even more beautiful? Like that's what we're looking for at the end of the day. Every day we just in search of something new, in search of something that would add something to us, you know?
Yeah.
It's like being in a relationship. We don't want to be taken away, but we want to be added on.
Right. Exactly. And it's a lot of give and take, you know. Sometimes the most beautiful thing you can do is nothing.
Nothing, yes. That's amazing. So we're towards like the end of our interview because we have spoken so much now. But you know, this is what the show is all about, like beautiful conversations, and people want to get to know the inside and all these beautiful conversations that we're having. They miss that. They want to see that. So I think I would ask you like last two questions, which is, how do you learn and practice new things when you're busy traveling on tour? How is the practice routine like then and now when you have all this time to yourself?
Okay, well, I made a conscious decision a few years ago to like try not to prepare for a gig, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but so, like absolutely not, or just like the parts and stuff.
If there's a particular unison to learn, or if there's a chord progression, of course I need to learn it and memorize it. But as far as anything else goes, I just trust the process. And honestly, like every time I'm in this situation, I have like major panic attacks. I like on the day of the gig, I'm like, I didn't prepare enough. I don't know this. I can't remember that. I'm going to screw it up. And then and 9 times out of 10 on the gig, it's like one of the best experiences I ever have.
Do you like doing that to yourself?
Yes and no. I've decided to let go a while back, and I decided to trust the process.
Right.
Music's in me. So if I over prepare, then I'm going to have expectations. And if I have an expectation and I'm expecting you to ask me a particular question, then I'm either going to be frustrated or I'm going to try to insert my opinion into a conversation. So I try to let it happen, and I try to trust that and I always say this to myself. I use a few different tools. So one thing I say to myself is, you've been practicing for so many years. You can't do this now, then what's the point of even doing it?
Yes.
So that's me like kicking myself in the ass.
Right.
And my other thing is, I have a son, right? I have a beautiful 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
He's relying on me to do the best that I can do, right?
Right.
So and I want to provide for him, and I want him to be happy. So what I do when I play sometimes is I just go, play for your son. Come on, play for him. You know, you have to do it right so he can have a good
follow
life.
your footsteps and feel what you're feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just try to put my faith in the situation, and do it for the right reasons, and then the music finds its way. If you know what I mean.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
But the way I practice is to prepare myself for any situation.
Yes, but I think that's what we do, like our foundation. That is so. If that's strong, then you're prepared for any kind of like spot on situations.
And it keeps it honest. It keeps it honest.
Yes.
And I like that. I like to be honest with music. I like to be as pure as possible. And you can't change who you are just because you want to. You have to work on it. You have to let it be natural. So you get the good and bad with me.
That's beautiful. Now, in my earlier episodes, I've like spoken about evolvement, development, and like transformative individuality that happens over time, with the people that we hang out with, or if we go to different countries, we pick something that we like, or if we eat something, or the experiences that we have had, everything just affects the way we feel, right? I want to know, how did you evolve as a person, and was it the same as growing up to be a musician, or were there two different paths that you had to go through as a kid to find one route that made you have this marriage between your music, you as a person and your music?
Well, definitely traveling opened my eyes, because when I was a kid, I was just kind of ignorant to the world. I was in my own bubble, if you like.
Yeah.
It's going to go full circle because we're all going to end up in a bubble as well.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, I was into soccer and football, and I didn't really care about anything. But then as I started to travel and meet people from all around the world.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm just going to close this door. My dogs are going mad. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. So when I started to travel, that's when my mind and eyes really opened up. And of course, you meet people along the way that have a massive influence on your life. People like John McLaughlin.
Yes.
Like I just remembered everyone who ever spoke of him, or anyone we would ever see in the street, or people recognize him. They always treated him with such respect. Like if I spoke to another musician, and he's such a gentleman, he's such a beautiful person. And then he always played with such dignity and such honor, and I just liked the way he lived his life and the way he looked at life. I thought it was very inspiring to me.
Yeah.
But then also traveling to India was a massive awakening for me. Just to, when Srinivas, when he opens up his mandolin case, he's like
praying. Yes. Even Rajesh, same.
Yeah, that actually had such an impact on me to respect what I do, and it's not just an instrument to play. It's a piece of.
It's a power. It's a powerful force. Yeah.
The power that speaks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you do it honestly, you can always hear a faker from a real musician.
Absolutely. There is some power that speaks through you. Yeah.
Just one note, you're like, Like Anthony Jackson, when he plays one note, I'm like, that's like ridiculous.
So far. Yes. Amazing. That was, incredible. One last question, which is also taken from some of our videos, which is, do you know Tony Gray? Do you know Mohini Dey? Obviously, like on our different videos, but I'm not going to ask you that. I'm going to ask you, when was the first time you heard of me?
First time I heard of you? I saw a video. I think you were maybe in a collaboration video or something.
Oh.
I can't remember. And you just played, and I was just like, you had your hair, you had the big hair, like Shaka vibe.
Yeah.
And
I love big hair and like stuff, curly hair.
And I just saw you, and I'm like, holy cow.
How long ago was that? Like probably a few years ago.
Time flies for me. So
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
guess 5
I had
years.
an honor of meeting you at NAM, but we couldn't hang that much because of all the busy stuff that goes around. But I
Yeah.
wish we had more time to like hang out. It would have been so fun. Probably
I
the
was
day.
I was
Yeah.
watching you because the first time I saw you play, I was just like the thing that blew me away was the force of intention. You were like fearless, and you were just going for it in
Oh,
different
did you watch me play it, NAM?
I watched you play it, Nam. Yeah, I watched
Oh,
you
you
play
did?
it in the booth. I can't. It was a string company or something.
SID strings, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just watching. And I was just like, man.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Okay, we're on to a rapid fire round now. 5 questions. It has to be like quick. First question. If you could switch to any other instrument, what would it be?
Piano.
Piano, of course. What is the worst compliment you've received so far?
I've had a few, unfortunately. You
One.
know,
Give us one.
it comes with the territory. You know, like when you put yourself out there,
Yeah.
and you know, this is the thing I don't like about the world that we live in. Is
Yeah.
like when somebody's taking a video and shoving it in your face on a gig,
Yeah.
and
Oh
they put
my
it
God.
online, and someone's like, "Who does he think?" Da. I didn't ask for any attention.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to impress anybody. So when somebody's like having personal digs at you,
Yeah. That's
what?
just annoying. Yeah.
It's a no. So somebody once said to me, somebody said, "Oh, why does he always wear a hat? He must be bald? He must have no hair." So here we is my hair.
Oh God.
Somebody said I
That's
was
hilarious.
poor man's Pat Metheny once on
Oh shit.
on iTunes. I was just looking at the reviews, and one guy said poor man's Pat Metheny. I was like, wow.
Oh shit. Oh God.
But hey, a poor man's Pat Metheny must be quite rich, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You should have said that. Yeah.
I'll take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Describe yourself in 4 words.
Tenacious, patient, open, kind.
Fine. Okay. Good. Good answer. Tell us something personal that the whole world don't know about you.
I'm a little OCD and a little neurotic. Like my brain is those cupboard doors, things like this.
That's cool. Interesting. Okay, last question. What is your favorite food?
I have to say it's a toss-up between 3.
Okay.
I can't choose. It's got to be either Thai food. I lived in Thailand for a couple of years.
Okay.
I love food. Japanese food, I love it so much. And Indian food, I love it so much. These 3 things, I have to do it.
Awesome. That brings us towards the end of our interview. Thank you so much once again. It was lovely talking to you. This is the first time. It was the first hang that we've had.
Yeah.
Virtual hang.
Yeah, I love it. You're great person.
Thank you so much.